Recruitment and life can be very stressful. In this video, I will share with you all the different things that I have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to keep myself in check so that I am able to do what I want to do, get through the tough shit that I have going on, and ultimately make the stuff that I want to achieve a reality for my life. So let's begin. It's only 4 things, so I won't take up too much of your time. So let's break it down. The first thing that I always say, if you want to be happy in recruiting, is to find the gratitude, be grateful, be appreciative of the opportunity. This is the biggest issue, I think, contributing to so much unhappiness in recruiting and in life because of a lack of appreciation. And this could apply to every single facet of relationships, your job, your car, your material possessions, your family. Why do we get so upset with all these things? It's because we fundamentally lose the appreciation and we take it for granted. And because we have it, we don't take the opportunity, we don't treasure what is in front of us. And instead, we live to our lower selves when it comes to the thing. And it can only result in a negative fashion. It cannot certainly go very, very well if you're taking things for granted. So that is the first issue. And so how can we recapture our passion for recruiting? Well, I think it's very straightforward. Number 1 is realize that this is a job that is extremely fun to do. Like, honestly, if you think about it, this job is pretty damn easy. As in, I don't have to go out and labor under the 95-degree sun. I don't have to do it. I don't have to go outside when it's -2 degrees and start plowing the roads. Not my job. I don't have to clean toilets. I mean, I still do because I have a lot of real estate. But I don't have to get rid of dead rodents. I can pay other people to do that, right? That's not my job either. But you get my point, is that there's so many things that this job does not entail. I used to have to do chef every single day during COVID to help my parents out at the restaurant. And that sucked. Yeah, I freaking hate being a chef. That is grueling. My arms are hurting and I hate it. And you're breathing in the dirty air all day. I have so much respect and love for my dad and my mom who are still doing that grind in their freaking mid-60s, 7 days a week. These are the things that we don't have to do. We're freaking privileged, all right? We speak English. We read and write that shit. We can just do this goddamn recruiting job. It's pretty freaking straightforward. All you got to do is call candidates and call clients. That simple. And you can make over $200,000 doing that a year. Some people make $4 to $5 to $6 to $7 to $1 million a year doing this job. Think about that. How privileged are we that we get to do this job? And then compare it to the other sales jobs. Yeah, we don't have $100,000 base salaries like people at Salesforce or maybe some of those big tech sales companies get. But we also don't have to deal with any of their bullshit. We literally just do recruiting. We deal with our candidates and our clients. We get to make those calls and we're in control of our business. We don't have to go and couch out to some big corporate entity. We don't have to follow all these rules. It's a unique industry. And we don't have to go and schlep around on weekends to show open houses. I don't know how my realtors do all their jobs. I think it's a terrible and difficult job. And I'm so glad I get to pay someone 5% to do that. Recruiters, we get paid 25%, all right, off of a single placement. That's insane. That's so insane. The opportunity is astounding, and I still don't take it for granted, not one day. 5-figure fees, pretty good living. You don't have to do 1 million deals. You can literally do 25 and make over $200,000, obviously depending on what deal and market you're in. But that's pretty average. If you place 30 accountants in a year, you'll definitely make over $200,000 under the right commission. So you do have to work for the right company, but that's a different conversation. The business model remains the same. It's very easy to understand. It's very lucrative. I don't have to do back-breaking labor, and I can do this job when I'm 80 years old. I actually don't need to be physically capable of typing out an email. A lot of people even use voice to text. So those are the amazing things about this career. Don't ever forget that, because so many people just get bogged down by the things that aren't going right in their life, in their job, in recruiting. It's oh, that candidate didn't like me. That client didn't immediately sign on to my MSA. Oh God. Yeah, money's just not going to fall down the AI into our laps. It's just not going to do that. Like, the fees are high for a reason. It's because this job is a bit demanding and you do need to make a few calls. You have to make a few calls. So again, it's like, think about how luxurious of an opportunity this is and put it into some perspective, right? Like, I saw all of my classroom, classmates, some had to go to MBA school. Some have to work for grueling 9-to-5s. And they're not 9-to-5s. They're like, 8-to-8s. They have to travel all around to like go see clients and like do the hourly work that's very tedious, and they have to present, and it's like high anxiety. Our job is none of that. We just recruit for this stuff. We don't have to actually do any of this stuff. It's kind of amazing. Right? So I think when I got into recruiting, that was a big reason why I stay in it so long and I'm good at it, is because I love it. I appreciate the shit out of it. Right? A lot of people are like, oh, it's not exciting. Oh, it's only candidates, only clients, only deals. I love that stuff. Like, this is the only good stuff there is. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to be generating reports. I don't want to be analyzing anything at all. I just want to call people. Like, keep it simple. Write emails. Life is so simple. Right? So that's what I love about recruiting. You can tell how much I love it, and I appreciate it because it gives me a lifestyle that is otherwise really hard to achieve. Really hard to achieve. Like, I would have to work so hard to survive in a 9-to-5, like, regular corporate job, to beat out everybody else, to eke my way into earning 120, 130, 140 after years and years. It takes people decades sometimes to get up to 6 figures. Yeah, it takes people till they're 30 to get there. I was a millionaire by 30 with this job. No lie. When I started this job early, started this career when I was 23, I was making over 200 grand by the time I was 25. And then I was socking that shit away and putting it into real estate. This is a luxury. This is such a luxury, right? Like, how long? I know people in their early 30s who are finally cracking 200 grand. And I'm like, damn, I saved all that time. I did not have to go the hard way. I went the shortcut. I did regulatory writing, recruiting. I did executive search. Bam, bam, bam. 200 grand, done. Put it into real estate. Easy. Not easy. But the point is, this career gives you all of these options. This career was made to make you money. And your bosses exist to train you, to help you, to get you producing, right? So there's so much amazingness that these companies and this industry provides that you'd be silly not to fully take advantage of it. So I think I beat this horse pretty dead. So let's talk about the second point. The second point is definitely related to money. Why do you want money? Because if you don't really want money, of course you're not going to do the work required to get it. Done, right? Like, if you don't even want $1 million like lifestyle, you don't want $100,000 in income, it's not a high priority to you, you should definitely not be doing this job. The whole point of this career, as a sales career, specifically agency recruiting, is to make you print money. It's to print loads and loads of greenbacks for you, right? So if you're not fundamentally interested by money, this is absolutely a waste of your time. I 100% agree. Because this career is only about the effort of making money. Through the effort of making money through doing deals being placements, placing candidates at companies. And by the way, you're gonna have to sell all the way along. You have to sell the clients, you have to sell the candidates, you have to sell yourself, you have to sell, and you have to really give a shit, or else people will know that you don't care and that you're quiet quitting on your job. Then they're not gonna be enthused to put money in your pocket. Right? So it's this really big challenge. If you're not financially motivated, then yeah. So what's the antidote? The antidote is think about why you're financially motivated. What made you excited about the sales job in the first place? Right? For me, it was a very clear memory. When I was 5 years old, I was a babysitter's daughter. My mother was a babysitter at a rich family's home. And we lived in their house. I was the daughter of the help. For 5 years. That was my childhood identity. I was the daughter of the help. I lived off of food subsidies and free lunch. And my mom was worried that I would literally grow up with an inferiority complex when she gave me the free lunch voucher thing. She was worried that I would grow up to be like ashamed of myself. And meanwhile, my money grubbing ass, I'm like, free lunch, yes, right? Like I grew up at that poor level my whole life. I see people with things nicer than mine. I literally grew up in their home. And for Christmas, I'd get 2 toys. They would get a room full. And at the same time, they would look at my toy and want my toy. That's what I saw at a young age, is the difference between the haves and the have-nots. But if you have the right attitude, you will quickly become a have. And I knew that there was mobility. And I knew that we're in the US of A. The American dream still exists here. You have to believe that. The American dream still does exist. It absolutely does. Millionaires are minted every single day in this country. Whether they're selling sneakers, whether they're on OnlyFans, whether they're doing YouTube, whether they're pursuing a traditional career route, whether they're getting S&P money from stocks that they listed, their publicly traded company and IPO'd, whether they're doing it through whatever means, the US of A still has opportunity. We still do. And if you do not believe that, then you have lost hope. You have lost hope in the capitalist system. And it's a capitalist system indeed that we still live in. We have not evolved to communism. We have not. I saw from my family and being Chinese what communism back in the day looked like. And it didn't work. It didn't work. The 50s, the 60s, the 70s proved that. Now China is on the up and up because it's a capitalist country. It's a capitalist country. And so we still live in a capitalist country. That's still very much the case. So what's your why? Why are you excited about money? And why do you care? Right? I care about money because, again, going back to my childhood, I remember my mom would drive us in our shitty little car that was like a gift from our employer because they were like, oh, you can have this car. You kind of need it to drive the kids around. We would drive in that car on weekend, and I remember distinctly going into the neighborhood of Newton, Massachusetts, which is like beautiful, nice house. And also I grew up in a very nice neighborhood because we lived in a beautiful home, and being surrounded by wealth, wealthy people, wealthy things, wealthiness, wealth. And literally my mom would drive us to this like really rich neighborhood, Newton, and we would just gape at these beautiful homes, just like, oh my God, they're beautiful. And I just remember thinking, even at that age, I was like, I will have a mansion in the future. I will be rich. I need to have this. And deep down inside my heart, I thought, if other people can get it, why can I not get it? Why is that not possible for me? Why can't I just work hard and get it? Why can't I just try? And obviously, I'm grateful. My parents obviously always influenced me and taught me that if you do try, you will make it. If you do try, you'll make it. If you try, you'll make it. If you try, you'll make it. So that becomes a tune that is in my psyche. It's like, you can do it. You can do it. You want wealth? You want richness? You want money? You want success? With the right attitude, with the right effort, with the right energy, with consistent hard work, you can get there. And that's still the case. And literally that is what I did to get ahead. Because I'm an Asian female. What advantage do I have in a recruitment sector, which is like heavily male dominated, heavily white dominated, right? Like thankfully I speak really good English. I'm a really strong writer. Yeah, these are some of my strengths and I play to my strengths. But I'm a landlord in a shitty area to people that scare me. What advantage do I have there? I make it work. I learn. I hire people. I try my best. I build relationships, right? Anything that is out there is feasible. You just have to do it. All of us start off relatively without that much privilege unless you genuinely are a rich white male. If you're born into that, you arguably have a little bit more privilege than the rest of us. The rest of us, we can play I call it the victim Olympics all day long. We can play the victim Olympics all day long. But that does not negate the fact that we live in a capitalist society that requires every single person, if you want to have a good life, to go and do some sort of job so that you can convert your labor hours into fiat currency, and you use that fiat currency and you buy stuff with it like food, and you can buy stuff with it like your vehicle. You can buy stuff with it like, your house and your bed sheets and stuff like that, right? So we all have agreed this is the society we live in today. We do not live in a feudal society. We have heat, but you have to make money to pay for heat. This is the new world we live in. We no longer live in a communal environment where all of us are just in the fields and we're living off of needles made from buffalo bones. Like, we do not live in that society. We live in a globalized economy. We live in a competitive society where now the competition is not just internal within this country. It is actually external. It is global. We are competing at a global level now, right? So that's where we're headed as a society. And so either you get with the program, you accept it, and you become a conqueror, you become a victor, or you can just forever be like, I'm just going to be a cog in the wheel. I'm just going to be a worker bee. There is no future for me. I might as well find something easier, blah, 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 blah. All those reasons why people give up on sales jobs, on recruiting, on jobs in general. This is why there's this huge movement of quiet quitting. It's essentially a big, huge FU to the world as we know it. It's just not realistic. It's not a realistic attitude that will get you anywhere, right? It's just not beneficial at the end of the day. It's just not practical. It doesn't put more dollars in your pocket. It actually was negatively going to affect you mentally as well. So let's talk about that third, great segue. Point 3. Mental stress, anxiety, issues, mental issues. If you are plagued with mental issues and you cannot handle the anxiety of dealing with clients, dealing with candidates, dealing with life, then again, this is not the right career for you. But if you have the wherewithal, you need to find a way to manage your stress levels, because all of us do. When I started recruiting, I remember slowly starting picking at my pimples. And I have a ton of pimple scars because at work I'd just be picking because I'm anxious. I would be anxious. Like, when is this client going to get back to me? Oh, what am I going to say? Bite my nails, right? From a very young age, I had this anxiety, like biting my nails. I have like really gross nails because I grew up I can never fight this. This is an ailment I still have to this day. I cannot stop biting my nails. And I'm a gross person when it comes to that. And it's because of anxiety. Like, I have anxiety too. I'm not a freaking psychopath. I actually have feelings as well. So when clients and candidates freak the F out and they're acting out and they're doing shit that I don't like and that's not making me feel good, I have to take a step back and remind myself, I am the boss here. This is why I have to deal with this shit. That's the mental stuff that I have to do in my head. Like, when a candidate's yelling at me, you're incompetent, I want to talk to HR myself. And they think they're hot shit because they're making $250,000 as a 45-year-old man. This MD, clearly, my worst candidate story. I'll tell you about that later. This guy, right, like yelling at me, calling me incompetent, literally every single time I talk to him. I have to remind myself, what's my why? Back to number 2, what's my why? Money, okay? I'm here to make money. And money's not easy to make. And I'm going to take this shit because I want to get rich and I'm going to freaking be here for it. I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to win over that dude. In fact, he's going to make money for me. He doesn't know it. He thinks he's freaking out. He thinks he can be big man. At the end of the day, I'm the one that's collecting the money off of him. I placed his ass. I got a $50,000 fee. Thank you very much. No thanks to me. He did not appreciate me. He thought I'm an idiot. Fine. This is the type of mental fortitude that you need to curate in recruiting, because a client will do the same thing. A client will give you shit. They will treat you like shit. And at the same time, at the end of the day, who wins? It's you. You're going to win because they have to pay your ass. It's called legal. It's called contracts. We sign these documents and y'all better pay, right? I had a client once steal somebody from me and not pay me. You know what I did? I went and stole 2 people right under their nose. And I was like, don't tell them because I'm going to steal. And that's war. That's business. It's war. You screw with me, I screw with you. You steal from me, I steal double. That's how the game goes. So there's got to be that fight, that competition in you. There's got to be that fight. And I will never stop fighting. You know, I'm a fighter. And that's part of my identity. And I will never, ever let someone take me for a ride and sit on my head and shit on it, as we say in Chinese. Never. I won't catch you sitting on my shoulders, taking a big old dump on my head. No thanks. Right? That's the kind of mental fortitude it takes to persevere. Obviously, you don't have to say those kind of phrases to yourself. Do whatever makes you tick. Do whatever makes you happy. This is how I personally jazz myself up, right? When there's a high anxiety situation, I have to literally calm myself and I have to be like, it's not a big deal. I'm going to handle this. I have to like counsel myself, right? And if there's a really high anxiety situation happen, I have to maintain a very cool facade while in my head, I'm like, are they going to take the job? What's going to happen? Oh my God, what's going to happen? You have to control yourself, right? That's the thing. That's the thing about recruiting. That is where a little bit of psychopathy gets in there. And it does help if you are a genuine psychopath. Unfortunately, I'm not a genuine psychopath. So my sales style is very transparent and very direct and I'm not the brightest. Look, I'm not the smartest in the room, but this is kind of what I think. And these are my suggestions. That's my style. That's what I've curated. But when it comes to something I know, I can speak from a very authoritative platform and perspective and tell you why this is a good idea or why it's not such a good idea, right? So you have to be able to play different angles and have the flexibility and adaptability because sales is going to require you to have multiple styles. It's not just one size fits all. It's a complete overhaul, depending on what situation and what is happening. So again, I can't stress to you enough the importance of mental fortitude and strength, inner strength. And sometimes that means to me, like I jazz myself up. Before I go into a client meeting, I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to have an awesome meeting. I swear a lot because that jazzes me up and it releases stress. So I swear a ton. And I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. It's going to happen. Let's go, right? Like sometimes even before offers come in or before clients tell me they're going to hire one of my people, I'll literally do a rain dance. I'll say like, I'm going to make it. This is going to happen. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like I will literally start I will literally start talking out loud in my car. Like I'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I know it will. Like I will literally start going crazy and having those conversations because that's the only way I can give myself the comfort that I need, the self-soothing that I need, and the confidence to act as if it make it happen. Of course, when I actually have the call with a client, I'm not being like, I'm like, hi, I'm curious. Yeah, because I already released all that stress earlier. Right? I already thought about it and did all my mental voodoo, law of attraction, that shit. I did that earlier. Right? So I think, again, in sales, it's just find what works for you. But you're going to have to be your biggest cheerleader and your therapist. Speaking of therapy, getting a therapist is not a bad idea. I'm actually really bummed that I didn't start therapy until this year. By the way, if you want to use affiliate link for therapy, definitely use my affiliate link. I'll drop it in the comments, so please do use that. BetterHelp. I use BetterHelp, and that shit is amazing. I just had a therapy session yesterday, and it gives me so much positivity and helps me relieve so much anxiety and angst. Right? So we need to be around people. We need to be around things. We need to surround ourselves with helpful people. Obviously, me dating a really wonderful man, someone who is absolutely amazing, has made a humongous change in my career, in my business. Before that, I was dealing with shitheads after shitheads. My whole 20s and then last 10 years, I was spent dating shitheads. Literally from the age of 22 to 32, I was dating shitheads who never treated me right. And that did not help me. It did not help me progress my career. I succeeded in spite of them, despite of them. Now I finally have the right man by my side who I love and is able to support me. So this anxiety, the stress, the mental fortitude, it's all about who you surround yourself with. And then also, how do you self-regulate? Because you're going to need both of these things to maintain positivity as a recruiter. That's very, very much the case. Every time I got out of a shitty relationship, I always knew I have my career. I have my business. I have my money. I'm so happy. I would always be able to walk out of those relationships with my head held very high because I'm like, I don't need you. I don't need you. I am good. I got my money. I got my success. And I have standards, even though I also had very low self-esteem at the time. I have standards because I have money, and money gives me power. Money gives me choice. Money gives me freedom. And that, again, is why I love money so much. Point number 2, what's your why? My why is as a woman, you need to have independent wealth. Now I'm going off topic. You get my point. You got to have a supportive network of people around you. And if you're not finding that internally in your job as a recruiter, you need to talk to me. My business, DG Recruit, we specifically help top recruiters exit situations where they're not being supported, because this also means your internal leadership team, if they're adding to your anxiety, if they're adding to your pressure, if they're not being supportive to you, for you to do the job that you need to do, which is hard. Our job is hard already, enough as it is. So if you're in an internal environment that won't even support you, we absolutely need to have a conversation, because that is what DG Recruit does. My company helps top billers move agencies, right? So again, if you're not getting the internal support, both from your personal life, from your work life, and then also your mental health, which is humongous, because sometimes I go off the deep end and I go into my conspiracy theory land, and that's not very good, where I think the dollar's about to crash and the world is going to end. Not very good. You need somebody sane, like potentially a therapist, potentially your partner, potentially a friend, potentially your parents, somebody to bring you back to earth, to give you that mental fortitude, because this job is not easy and it's going to drive you crazy. It's going to give you some probably anxiety issues. You need to mitigate it, because every single person in this industry, we have to deal with it. There's definitely a certain demographic of psychopaths that don't have to deal with it, but the majority of us are not psychopaths, and we need to deal with it. And we have to get a move on, and we have to carry our family, our life, our personal life, our work life, our team if we have a team, our colleagues if we have colleagues, right? So all of these things you have to personally manage, and it can get dicey, which is why you want to take advantage and get ahead of it with things like therapy, starting earlier. I cannot recommend it enough, even though everyone's been telling me since my late 20s to get therapy. It took me forever to find this better health solution. Now that I have it, it's been a staple. Every single week, I have a 30 to 40-minute conversation with my therapist, and it greatly helps. Greatly helps. Also greatly helps my business partner is awesome. Grace Marlin, shout out. She's awesome. And then my partner, of course, he's just so awesome too. And my family's good too. So everything's fine. I find I limit myself for sure in terms of how many people I deal with. I don't have frivolous relationships. And if I find that relationships are becoming frivolous or not supporting me and are not there to help me, I'm sorry. I walk away from those relationships. I don't hang out with a lot of people that don't contribute to my well-being. I really don't, because I have big goals. I have dreams, and I just don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste with people like that. I've done it, my 20s as well. Even my 30s, I've dealt with people that, looking back, were not a great fit, and I've let them know, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to continue this conversation. I don't want to be in your sphere, and I don't want you to be in mine. You're distracting me more than you're contributing, right? So I don't know, call me a bitch if you want, but that's how I genuinely feel. You got to protect your space, and you got to take care of yourself, because mental health, it's no joke. I don't have that many freaking screws left to be sharing it with everybody. Anyways, the last note, this ended up becoming a very long video, so I hope you like it. Number 4, what you have to do for success as a recruiter and in life is to drill down on the day-to-day things, the small things, right? This is how you're going to maintain your positivity, and you're going to celebrate your small list of wins and maintain a positive attitude, because you're going to celebrate the tiniest of wins. This is where I went wrong when I was 30 years old, millionaire, and I was miserable. I was not happy at all. It's because my dreams were delusional. I thought that my first year as an entrepreneur at 28 or 29, I was going to make $1 million. I mean, I'm that cuckoo. My dreams are that insane. I was like, I'm going to just get there. No, I'm still not at 7 figures a year. I'm just not, right? Because a little bit of it is complacency. A little bit of it is just lack of direction. A little bit of it is just I'm living my life. I'm hanging out. I'm doing my thing, right? I'm not really so focused every single day on my job, which is the problem, right? The problem is how you get actually really successful is doing those little things. And thankfully, I'm finally getting back on that grind now. So this is a journey that we can all be on, is I'm focusing on the little things I need to do on an hourly, minute by minute, daily basis to get somewhere, right? Like, because before I was just dreaming. I was like dreaming. That worked the first time, didn't it? Like, didn't I dream that I was going to make 6 figures? And I did when I was 24. And didn't I dream I would buy a house? Yeah, I did. And I got there. And didn't I dream that I was going to become a millionaire by 30? Didn't I dream all those things? Didn't all come true? It did. But I'm extrapolating and I'm contributing the wrong outcome to the input. Like, I got successful not because of dreaming. I got successful because I worked a lot. I put in a lot of work. I was working and I was saving every single cent. And I was like studying the real estate market. And I was like really doing a lot of work. And sometimes when you get past all that, you forget how much work you actually did on the come up. Because sometimes I just it was a blur. Like all the shit I used to do in my teens, in high school and college, like it's just a blur now. I don't remember actually how much work I actually had to do to get to where I am today. Back when I started recruiting, oh my God, I was working literally like 12-hour days, 13, 14-hour days even, 7 days a week, driving, almost dying, driving because I would almost get into car crashes because I would go all the way from New York to Pennsylvania and Delaware in the same day, leaving at 5 a.m., getting home at 9 or 10. And I would literally be so tired, I almost fell asleep on the road like a multitude of times. And I would do this consistently for years. Right? I had forgotten about all the little things I did that you don't celebrate because you're like, oh, I just did 1 day of meetings. Like what? Celebrate. Those are the things that are going to get you to your goal. And sometimes it's like the human psychology thing where they talk about how if you as a person, you don't see a picture of yourself being really old, you're actually going to decimate your body and eat a lot of junk food and smoke and drink. But then the people who constantly saw an older, aged picture of themselves, they use like technology to make you look old. And the people in the study who were looking at an older picture of themselves actually changed their behavior to be better behaved because they did not want to end up old and unhealthy. And I feel that. I understand that because I'm starting to think what kind of life do I want to ultimately have? That dream is directly connected to the day-to-day little things I do. So if I start smoking, if I start drinking all the time, if I start eating fried chicken every single meal, what is it going to do to my health? What is it going to do to my heart disease, right? If I have a burger, if I have cheese with everything, if I have freaking tots, loaded tots. I mean, I love loaded tots. But you see what I mean? What's going to happen if you eat that crap all day? And thankfully, my partner is just not about that life. He's very health conscious. And that's a humongous, humongous help. So again, it's the day-to-day things that add up to become your reality. So as recruiters or in life, keep things simple. Focus on the day-to-day little things that you need to do. And everyone's telling me to read this book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm sure it's wonderful. It's called One More or something like that. And I love just the concept appeals to me because that is exactly how I look at everything in my life. And I try to. One more healthy meal, one more, push-up, one more dial, one more call, one more attempt, right? Everything is tied to this idea of just a little bit more. Let me keep trying. Let me keep going. Just one more. Before you know it, we got a lot more. And things are going much better. And then all of a sudden you get this hockey stick. That's what I'm living for, man. I'm just hoping for the hockey stick to hit every single day. And in the meantime, I'm going to be right here with you. I'm going to be making content. I'm going to be putting up TikToks. I'm going to be putting up videos. I'm going to be writing posts because no one's going to just skate to riches by doing nothing. That's just not how the world works. So we're all in the same boat. I'm right there with you. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, definitely reach out. Drop me a note, drop me a line, write me a little something, and I will get back to you. I can't wait to share more ideas with you to continue supporting you in your life and your career. So any sort of topics, let me know what I can create for you. And if you haven't yet, please do check out my podcast and rate it. Please give it a 5-star rating, please. It's called DG Recruit Podcast. Check that out. That's all about recruiting, where I teach tons of sales techniques, tons of recruitment techniques, candidate control, client control, deals, negotiation, rates, what have you. So check that out. In the meantime, I'm here for you, and I'm going to be out there little by little celebrating my little wins right next